Well, the federal government's laws to ban Australia's live sheep trade have passed Parliament. Trade will end by May of 2028. Joining us live now, National Senator Matt Canavan. Matt, good to see you as always. So a win for the animal activists here, not so for the farmers.
Well, I think it's a shameful day for our nation. This is the first time that I can find in our history that we have made a certain type of farming illegal. This government has made farming, a type of farming, a criminal act. We could try and increase regulations, increase standards. That's been happening over many years in the live sheep trade. Happens all through different types of economic activity. But the government here has just sold out our farmers to activist groups in exchange for preferences at elections for the Labor Party, and in doing so has shut down the livelihoods of 4,000 farmers who are engaged in the live sheep trade, and thousands of others of truck drivers. Shearers will be affected because it will affect the wool trade as well. The viability of the whole sheep industry in WA is at risk. And the government's ignored all that, as I say, because it's just done that deal. And not only that, it's passed this stuff through. Like, this was the first time I think we've ever done it in 123 years in our Commonwealth history. And it passed it through by gagging debate last night. Did not have a committee stage where we can debate amendments. Refused to have a Senate inquiry on the issue. The government was clearly embarrassed about its political deal and preferences to end farming and a type of farming in this country, and therefore it snuck it through in the middle of the night.
Does it not have 70% of support in WA, though? At least that's what Murray Watt's alleging.
Yeah, so exactly. So Murray Watt, he uses that poll. That was a poll commissioned by animal activist groups, right? Like, it's not an independent, unbiased poll. There was polling done by the live industry. Again, they're not an activist group, but the live sheep industry showed there was majority support or a majority against shutting down the trade. It depends very much how you ask the question, of course.
Yeah.
But this is a anti-Western Australian piece of legislation. Live sheep exports only occur in Western Australia. So, and only one Labor WA senator spoke last night. Only one. Glenn Sterle, the new senator.
Well, it wouldn't have been Fatima Payman.
Speak, and Senator Payman did not speak, but she did not vote for it either, I don't think. I'm not sure if she was paired.
Well, I think she's on the outer at the moment.
Yeah, well, I'm not sure. So you can. I'm hearing conflicting reports about whether she was paired or not, which means if she was paired, her vote was still counted. But look, she did not speak either. So the WA Labor senators, I mean, how can you shut down a whole industry in your state, just your state, and not even have the guts to go into the chamber and talk about it? As I keep saying, I mean, these Labor senators, apart from Senator Payman, they're just a bunch of robots. They don't actually put forward their own points of view to the Australian public.
When you say, so when you say apart from Fatima Payman, do you support the move that she's making at the moment by openly defying the Prime Minister, her boss?
Well, I support a parliament where there can be robust debate and people can put their own views. So obviously I don't support Senator Payman's particular view on this matter, but I do support her right as an elected representative to vote in the way that she sees fit, to put voice to those arguments in the Australian Parliament. And this pledge that the Labor Party has, where they're all bound and they're not allowed to step out of line ever, it's a relic. It's a relic of an era where they were following a Leninist democratic centralism model, and they explicitly wanted to establish a socialist state in Australia. Now, I think they've dropped that objective, but they haven't dropped the pledge, which is a relic from those communist times. And I think the Australian people would prefer their elected representatives to be able to have debates in public, the Australian people to see those arguments, not behind the closed doors of the Labor Party caucus room.
Just a final one here. It's an interesting day ahead for the New South Wales opposition leader Mark Speakman. He'll be tested in a meeting. It's all over this threats to break up the Libs and the Nationals in New South Wales. This happened with John Barilaro a couple of years ago. Do you think this goes anywhere today?
Look, I don't know. I hope the Liberal and National parties in New South Wales do not split up, or at least not split up over what is in effect a diary dispute. I mean, I always say the relationship between the two parties is a business relationship. It's not a marriage. And so if at some point the business relationship is not mutually beneficial, you end that relationship. But, you know, that would normally, I think, to get to that stage, it would be over something very substantive, a policy matter, something that's affecting real people's lives. I mean, this seems making a mountain over a molehill here.
Well,
so
I mean,
people step back.
I'm looking at the details here. I mean, just because he didn't tell, you know, Wesley Fang that he was going to Wagga. That seems like a big call to split up the family because of that.
Yep. Look, it's the equivalent of getting divorced because your Christmas lunch didn't go all that well, and these things happen from time to time. They're unfortunate. I've been guilty myself sometimes of forgetting to call somebody that the area I was going into or not realising they were there and that stuff. So the normal course of action is apologise for that and not do it again. Splitting up a long-standing agreement like that over that seems a little bit severe for me.